We are prey to a broken system and a failing economic model, a system that delivers for the very few at the very top, while living standards stagnate and real wages are squeezed for the vast majority. It means as a nation that we must try to thrive on what amounts at worst to poison pills and at best policy scraps from the UK table. All this when we have the capacity to stand and to flourish on our own 2 feet. I know there are many in this room who are not yet persuaded by the case for independence and others who will never be. I respect that. But independence is the defining choice for this generation. Have no doubt about that. Because the UK status quo has proved itself incapable of delivering on the hopes and the ambitions of the people of Scotland. That is why, like a clear majority of Scots, I believe our nation should have the right to choose our future. If this is a voluntary union, as Westminster politicians insist, then it is completely untenable that there is no mechanism for Scotland to leave the United Kingdom if it so wishes. Whether it is Keir Starmer, Kenny Badenoch or Nigel Farage, no Westminster politician should have the ability to deny Scotland her right to national self-determination.
So I was struck by that phrase that Swinney used when he said that independence is within reach, because it did have echoes of something Nicola Sturgeon said back in 2019, which was that independence is within touching distance. And of course, 6 years later, it's no further forward. So what do you think, Mark? I mean, was that a visionary speech that moved the independence debate forward, or was it just empty rhetoric designed to appease a restless base?
It was interesting that it was called the 2050 conference, because I think 20 to 50 seconds would have been enough to send me to sleep. For me, this was a conference that was maybe full of big ideas, radical ideas. I heard very little of that other than just platitudes. Now, I'm told there was a big box of Tunnock's tea cakes for everyone involved in the actual event. So maybe over a tea cake or two, they all discussed these big, massive ideas and radical ideas. I didn't see any of it. Luckily, I didn't have to go because I was stuck on my news desk here at the Daily Record. But I would have hoped that if this was the big independence button being hit by Swinney, that there would have been a more radical vision of independence up for discussion. He said the right things, and he talks about his hopes for an independent Scotland, but nothing concrete as to how we get there. And as for his very, strongly supportive of independence followers, what's in it for them? There's still no path to that goal. So for me, it lacked vision, and I'm not convinced that we're any nearer independence today than we were before the speech. I'm always amused as well when people say Swinney needs to hit the independence button, as if his own family fortune and all it has to do is hit a button. Yeah, exactly. That's what it gets from me this time round. It's just, it seemed like rhetoric and nothing concrete in it. I would like to see a far more radical version of independence on the table. That might get the blood flowing.
Also, who gives a monkeys about 2050? They care about 2025 paying their bills. No one's thinking about 25 years down the line. I mean, also, you look at this through a political lens. The SNP, they lose the Hamilton by-election. There's mutterings about Swinney's leadership. Folk, not just on the left of the independence movement, but mainstream figures as well, they're restless about the lack of an independent strategy, and then lo and behold, John Swinney makes an independent speech. He's not talking to the country with this speech, he's talking to his own base.
Looks like
trying to keep his own coalition together.
Looks like it. I mean, it does look as though it's a response to Hamilton and the independence button quote that came out from sources in the SNP. And, this has been an opportunity to do it. It's such a lacklustre speech, though. I mean, 2050, I was struck by another quite divisive figure who has also set out his vision for 2050. Elon Musk wants to see a self-sustaining colony on Mars of 1 million people. by 2050.
That's the express
That's
stance, isn't it?
That's
on that?
and it's just, that's a genuine vision for the future. That's exciting. That's wow. This is where the century's going. John Swinney is taking us back 100 years. I mean, the SNP
100 years?
yeah, still. I mean, back to the 50s, back to, let's put a border between Scotland and England and that'll solve all our problems. It's such a backward looking thing.